It all starts in 1856. Great-granddad was born in Mannheim, Germany, one of 12 children, and came to the United States 16 years later, 1872, at the age of 16, if you can believe it, taking the boat from Germany over to Brooklyn and getting off in Brooklyn, and there was no Statue of Liberty. Statue of Liberty came 14 years later, 1886. So, got a job working for the Hoodlet Banjo and Drum Company there in Brooklyn, and learned the art of banjo and drum making, and fell in love with Rosa, my great-grandmother, who happened to be a very musical person and was a piano player. They got married in 1879, and 1880, my granddad came along. Granddad came into the business 1895 when our founder, great-granddad, died, and imagine coming into business at 15. Granddad got married in 1904, had 3 sons, my dad and his 2 brothers. And in 1916, they built that building at 60 Broadway in Brooklyn, 10-story building. He was 36 years old. That building was 100 years old just a couple years ago. Drumming innovation started to happen with multiply hoops and drum shells in the 20s, and of course everybody else was copying that. And some of the innovations we did on banjos, we moved over to drums, like we used die-cast on banjos in the 20s, and we were using die-cast on drums in the 30s, and it's part of our legacy history today. In 1932, the internet of the day was the radio, man. The Radio City Music Hall, the Rockefellers, with all that money, they built that in the Depression, opened it in 32, and Billy Gladstone was the principal percussionist there. And in the later 30s, we worked with him on dialing in our legacy drums. And we just had the advantage of being able to work with those jazz guys who came along, certainly in Harlem, and visited us in the factory in Brooklyn. People are a central theme of any legacy. And Phil Grant had a degree in percussion from University of Pennsylvania and came to us after the war, and was just a wonderful drummer, and he really worked closely with the jazz guys and knew them all on a first-name basis. Max Roach and Philly Joe Jones and Joe Jones and Art Blakey, of course. The neat thing was they all came to visit in Brooklyn and to check out the drums we were making, and Grandpa had registered the K Zildjian trademark in 1926 and 27. So we were the K Zildjian distributor. And the guys always liked to try cymbals when they were there. I started myself in '65 in that building in Brooklyn. You could see Lower Manhattan, you could see up the East River, and the Williamsburg Bridge was right there as well. We were on the 7th floor, and that's where we made Gretsch drums. And Brooklyn's part of our heritage. We built all our stuff there from 1916 to 1969. Business was sold to Baldwin 1967, and Baldwin moved it out in '69 to Arkansas. I always had a goal to buy it back, bring it back to the family. I did in 1984. So we've been here in Ridgeland, South Carolina, kind of a sleepy town, but it's a great place to manufacture, and we've had a long run of 30-some-odd years here, and we continue to be very dedicated to the elements of the Gretsch sound, the maple special blend shells, the die-cast hoops, the careful manufacturing. We do nitrocellulose lacquer, and a lot of people may say they're doing lacquer, but they're using some kind of plastic stuff. We use the real deal, the original nitrocellulose. The silver sealer came to be in the 50s, and it was an evolution of dialing in the sound of the drums, and Phil Grant was always experimenting, and though he wore a white shirt and a tie every day, having those drumsticks and playing drums is certainly something he was very involved in. And so he was always checking out the different recipes of products that the guys thought about, and maybe there was an idea from a drummer or something he dreamed up himself. For us, it's a worldwide community of musicians, artists, music lovers, and fans that we're out to serve. And it's a personal thing for the family to support the worldwide community of musicians that are out there. And we've got 7 generations of the family in view. I'm number 4. Dad was 3, and the founder was 1, and Granddad was 2. So got a daughter in the business more than 20 years, and grandkids who are interested in the business and getting great education, and we got great grandkids too. So my personal goal is for it to be strong 100 years from now. So making sure we're servicing well the new generation of musicians out there are playing their own music, playing different music, playing the music of the day. That's really important to us. That'll keep us around for another 100 years.